In the news for May 13th, 2016, from Lisa Haven's channel, I saw a very disturbing report. It's about a 20-minute long report talking about how churches, our 503c3 churches, have become hubs for the NSA, for Homeland Security, for social services, and for law enforcement. Let me explain. They're going to be rolling out, if they're not already doing this already, a program called the CARE Initiative Program, or CARE Program for your children. This sounds lovely-dovey, sounds great on the surface, but really it's not about just children. It's about everything you're doing in your life. If somebody don't like what you say, they'll report you. Because they don't like your opinion. And so they'll call the police and give them an earful. And they'll cause all kinds of mayhem because they don't like what you're saying, And like I always say, if you don't like it, why make hell for someone else? Just turn it off. You don't have to cause hell for them. You may not like their opinion. I may not like your opinion, but I'm not going to call the police on you because you say things that are controversial. Because everybody does. Everybody does it. But, even Jesus did it. He was the pinnacle of it. He was always the head of controversial because he was saying the truth. And a lot of times truth is what shakes things up, shakes people up. And see, that's why they might label you as an extremist, because you're actually telling the truth, and all these other people out here in line, that's why they're all shaken up. But see, if you don't like to hear the truth, then don't listen. Just turn it off. You don't got to make life hard for them. They're just trying really to help people. If you don't understand it or understand them, then it's not their fault that you don't understand it or you don't like them. But, you say things that are hard, too. You got to realize that somebody would do the same thing to you in your community or in your church. Let's say if your little girl, Peggy Sue, goes to church and she's 11 years old, she falls and gets a big bruise on her, on her knee. Or let's say it's on a little bruises on her forehead. Somebody in church, innocently enough, you already explain it to them. They know you. You explain it to them what happened, because they're going to ask questions about a bruise being there. That's normally what happens. And you tell them the truth, and they know you've gone to church with these people all your life. And all of a sudden, you get a knock on your door the next day. It's from social services and law enforcement is there with them to take your child out of home. This is really happening, folks. From churches that are like this. Now, there are a lot of good 503c churches out here, but this program is not for what you think it's for. This program really is not just about children encroaching on them, but it's also encroaching on what you do outside of church in your homes. It's about surveillance, totally government surveillance. That's why a lot of churches, like in countries like China, Europe, and Russia, are all not meeting in the buildings anymore. That's why they call the term underground. That's where the term underground comes from, because they're meeting in people's homes. Why? So they can get away from all the scrutiny that the government wants to impose on the bodies of believers and people. And so how to get around that is to meet in people's homes. So that's what a lot of people are doing. And see, that's a good thing. That's why we have a church here at Harbor Square. It's a lot less regulations, a lot less oversight. It really is. That's why I'm doing it this way. I know what I'm doing. I'm not stupid. And, there's a whole lot of, a lot of extra, when you sign into a 503c, like I reported on my last reports in the past, I talked about it becoming a corporation. It's really true. If you look at your addendums in the agreement, when you sign on it, a lot of you renew it every year, but you need to look at it, because every time you renew that sucker, it's like there's a whole new set of new rules and requirements, and they keep adding more and more onto it. Since 55 to now, it's been, we've had this 503c thing for all churches, and now it's becoming more and more like you got to spy on your church members and report them for wrongdoing, even though a lot of things they're doing isn't really wrong. It's just misunderstanding, misguidedly by people, and rumors being generated. And the church should not become a place of feasts or a place of gossip, but a lot of them have become that. And that's what Jesus was talking about and referring to when he called people hypocrites and wolves in sheep's clothing, you pack of thieves. That's what he was referring to, because that was going on back then. People spying on people in the church, reporting it back to the government or people in the county where you live. So, there's all kinds of things going on here. And I don't think people realize it or really are paying attention. And that's why it may make you think twice maybe to go to your local 503c church. And even though you were going there all your life, you might be surprised it may not be as good as it was cracked up to be because it was going on probably all that time. And why people had trouble or things happened to them because people misreported information that wasn't true. And see, that's what I'm talking about. It's like I said, the early Salem trials. Remember the Salem trials? The Puritans burnt, they listened to kids, which is crazy, and teenagers, and had their parents burnt at the stake. It's kind of like what this is like, what the government's doing with all this overreaching and power and surveillance. That's kind of what they're doing, folks. And I don't know how else to spell it out to you, but I'm not saying don't go to these churches, because there's a lot of good churches out there that are 503c churches. They really are. But at the same time, you have to realize that this stuff is going on there too. And you have to understand who the people are and who the players are in your church body, where you go at your local congregation. You need to be aware of that and realize that. And, I would really take stock, and if there's a lot of that encroaching going on unnecessarily at your congregation, I would definitely leave. Because that's not church. That's not worship. When we're all spying on each other, it's like we become a den of thieves. We're not really there to worship, to bring harmony or glory to God. We're there to tear people down and be divisive with these schemes. And that's what's going on. Another thing, Obama signed a declaration today, was this morning, to make all schools across America have transgender bathrooms or restrooms in there. They actually said that today, and if schools do not comply, then they will face lawsuits and more being people that are not allowed these transgenders to go in the bathroom of their choice. They will actually be brought up on charges. Can you believe that our president or your government tells us what to do when really that's not their place? And people might get mad about that, but really it's not their place to tell us what to do when it comes to operating a school. That don't have nothing to do with education, telling somebody where they need to go to the bathroom or what bathroom they can go into. Okay? That has nothing to do with education at all, whatsoever. And I want to make that clear. But that's what they put out today. All schools have to come up with this transgender bathroom. And I'm mad as a preacher, mad as a hornet. You see this stuff going on, it's crazy. It's insane. Okay? But that's what they just did today. And this is where your daughters and sons go. And they're making that available. What's it going to be next? Pedophilia? And probably so. That's where it's headed. That's what I'm telling you.